What do you get when you mix tradition, history, and creativity together? You get Kenyan music. Kenya is a country with over 40 ethnic communities, each with their own distinct traditional sound. Tabu Asusa, a Kenyan music producer, artist manager, and founder of Ketable Productions, walks us through just where it all began.
Well, we're quite a diverse, multicultural society. So, I mean, like, for example, if you go down the coast, there's what we would call authentic. They have got the chakacha and, of course, the tarab-based stuff. If you go towards Western, we have the... If you are talking about contemporary culture, I mean, like that's like the benga. But if you want to go earlier, we have like the Ohangla. I'm talking about the dodo. We have mutibo. I mean, the list is endless. Even if you go to central Kenya, they've got all those the mugiris and the rest.
Music's always been part of Kenyan culture. Music was used in various occasions like birth, death, beer drinking, storytelling, and initiation ceremonies. After the First and Second World Wars, former Kenyan soldiers and carrier corps in the British Allied Forces returned from war with instruments like the accordion and the acoustic guitar, replacing some traditional instruments. Gradually, from the 40s into the 50s, the traditional sound transitioned into a new contemporary sound. Like the traditional central Kenyan sound of music from leg rattles, one-stringed instruments and horns, the Kikuyu community slowly transitioned to the mwomboko, a popular kind of music that was initially established as a mock of the British waltz. And the Luo community transitioned from the traditional sound of the stringed instruments, horns, and metal shakers to the electronic and acoustic guitar, creating what will be known for decades as benga. Most of the music in the 60s, just after independence, and the 70s was played by bands. Popular bands such as Shirati Jazz and Ogara Boys were known far and wide. Benjamin Kiplagat, a former music producer in the early 90s, tells me more.
So you see, music was a serious thing. You know, you don't just jump from somewhere into music. That was the 60s and probably the 70s. You had to be a member of a band to produce good music. The only other option to do music, as opposed to being in a band, was maybe to be a DJ. Yeah. So there was a big nothing in between. You're either a DJ or a band player. Yeah. So that was then. And from what I know, from what I hear from people who are ahead of me, there used to be places where they went to listen to live music. To me, that is how the music looked then.
And with the advent of TV in the late 70s in Kenya, Kenya's national broadcaster and sole TV station, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, introduced the Kenyan audience to a whole new sound. Kenyan music experienced all kinds of influence from European to American, South African, and finally Central African. Congolese artists and Kenyan artists would play around with each other's sound. Dio Misiani, a sensational benga artist, produced a song, Kisero Pek Kakidi, which was later produced by the Congolese. And this opened Kenya up to a new fascination with Central African music, which soon overshadowed local music. In 1981, John Obongo Jr., veteran Kenyan radio show host, started a show called The Kenyan Beat to revive the local music scene.
Between the 80s and the 90s, because most of these old guys, after the Lingala music took over, they tried to relax because everybody was going for Lingala. So they were not appreciated as such. KBC could not appreciate some of that stuff. You're not allowed to play Kenyan music that time. They thought if you played this music, you are being bribed by the artists. So you can come up with a song. They have to identify, is it Luya, Kikuyu, Luo? After coming up with it, you want it to be played on national service or the English service, but they'll say no. Take it to Luo, Kuyu, what have you.
The ethnic stations.
Ethnic stations. They could not accept it this side. That's why I started this program, where now it could be accepted. That's the only program that could play that music.
Did you face any resistance when you're kicking off into the Kenyan beat?
No, they supported me.
Okay.
Because there's no way, because the artists they wanted to be featured on the national radio. So they said, okay, fine, we are starting a program, and this is the right guy too to do this program. You have your music, take it to John. That's how it kicked off. Up to this moment, it's still on.
So can you remember the very first artist whose music you played on air?
The very first artist?
Yes, on your show.
Them there were minutes, so now a program, and it featured so many. But I can talk of Kamaru, I can talk of DK, I can talk of Dio Misiani, and many others.
What was the public reception like?
Fantastic.
A lot
it was
of
a very
requests?
even, won so many awards then, because I couldn't believe that their music could be heard. These guys.
In the 90s, a new generation of musicians were emerging with a lot of influence from American hip-hop. But some feel that the new crop of artists have lost the essence of Kenyan music.
Like the baton being passed from the old generation to the younger generation, and it's been very successful. But somehow in Kenya, the baton dropped, and they kept running. So I asked myself, what's happened to the young generation? Then I realized that actually, maybe I should not be too hard on them. They don't know, it's not their mistake, because see, the media only highlights music from the West and stuff like that.
It's a total confusion, because there's that, some of them call it Afrofusion. Others call it gang, others call it... So we don't have a proper sound. We had better music then than now.
What's your argument for that?
You see, that coping.
But despite the apprehensions in the diversifications of Kenyan music, artists like Wenyo have managed to create a fusion of the old and new. He believes it's the core of Kenyan music.
I want people to see that you can be an R&B singer and do benga in R&B. You know, it works. Some of the songs in Swahili are R&B, but if you listen to the guitar work, it's benga.
Wenyo is working on his new album, Benga Blues, a fusion of traditional benga and contemporary R&B. Wenyo's name is derived from the Luo word meaning bird, referring to his light and feathery voice. He allowed me a sneak preview of the song Gariteri, Luo for The Train is Taking You, from his debut album Benga Blues, scheduled for release next year.
So the two boys are feeling sad. Their big sister is going. They've been kicked out of the party because they're not dressed well. You know, they have tattered shorts. So they're dancing out there. They're making this song. Because the rich guys have come, you know, they're taking away the sister. And you know, that used to happen when it's your party at your village. The villagers chase you away.
This is Rosa Dengo for GPI in Nairobi.